Hey, Bo here. Welcome to today's episode. Today we're going to talk about three things that wealthy people do that ordinary people don't, or usually don't. So let's get right into it. Number one is wealthy people reinvest their profits instead of spending their profits. And I have a really good example of this in my own life. I'm a marketing director for my girlfriend's company. We have a business together, and I do a lot of the marketing. And she recently did a big product launch, and we made several $1,000s in that launch, in her very first product launch of her business. And we could have looked at that and said, "Oh wow, we have a lot of money now. We can go spend and enjoy ourselves and upgrade our living, upgrade our lifestyle and stuff like that." We could have thought of it like that and just thought that all that money was ours to spend, right? But we were smarter about it than that. What we did is we took a large percentage of the profit that we had just made, and instead of spending it, instead of upgrading our lifestyle, instead of going on vacation, what we did is we took that money that we made and we put it back into the business. We reinvested it back into advertising, and we grew her business massively because of that. So if we would have spent that money, we wouldn't have been able to continue growing the business. So we spent most of it back on advertising. So then the very next month, she did another product launch right after the first one, and it was like 5 or 6 times more successful than the first product launch, only because we had reinvested the profits. So we made 5 times more money 1 month later because we took half of what we made in the first product launch and we reinvested it back into advertising to grow her business. And guess what we're doing this time? Do you think we're going to take all that money we made in this launch and spend it? No, we're going to do the same thing. We're taking most of the profit that we made, instead of going on luxurious vacations and upgrading to a private condo or whatever. Like, we're not doing any of that. We're taking most of that profit, putting it back into the business so the business continues to grow. Eventually, we're going to be able to upgrade our lifestyle and do a lot of things, but we're not thinking so short term. Wealthy people think long term. They think about how they can invest what they're making back into their business. Most people, what they do when they get a big paycheck is they go spend it right away. They go get a new car or upgrade their apartment and buy all these things that don't add any real long-term value to their lives. It doesn't help them become more successful. It just puts them into more debt and increases this or perpetuates the cycle of financial stress because they're not reinvesting in order to grow. Okay, so that's a really important thing. When you make money, don't automatically think that that money is just yours to spend now. Think of how you can spend it wisely and invest back into yourself or back into your business in order to grow personally or financially. Okay? So that's one of the three things that wealthy people do that ordinary people don't. The second thing wealthy people do that ordinary people don't is they focus more on solving other people's problems than they do on solving their own problems. And this is how people become wealthy. It's by solving people's problems. Because in order to prosper in life, you have to give some kind of value to the world. No one is just going to hand you money just because of you, just because you're you, like unless you're a celebrity or something maybe. But in most cases, you have to give something in order to receive, right? And you're only going to get from other people. They're only going to hand you their money, their hard-earned money, if you can give them something very valuable in exchange for that, right? So the key to becoming financially successful is to focus on solving people's problems and being a creator of value in the world. Most people are consumers. They consume the value that other people create. Think about like television shows that you watch on TV. Do you know that those people who are making those television shows for you to watch are making a lot of money? Like, some of them are probably making millions of dollars because they're creating something that the masses are consuming, right? So if you want to become very successful, you have to get out of the consumption mindset and start getting into a creation mindset. What are you creating for the world? Are you just sitting back and taking in information? Even these videos that I'm making, like, what are you doing after you get done watching these videos? Are you going out in the world and doing something with the knowledge? Are you sharing it? Are you spreading it? Are you creating something? Are you putting this knowledge into practice and actually doing it and providing value and giving to the world? Taking what you learn and helping other people learn from that as well? Are you spreading the good? Or are you just taking in more and more and more information? Are you just consuming but not creating? Okay, so that's the second thing wealthy people do, is they focus on creating value for others, and they're less focused on getting their own needs met, because they know that if they create value for the world, their own needs will be met automatically. It's a byproduct of value creation. Success is a byproduct of value creation. So the less you're focused on you and the more you're focused on helping others, the more easily you will succeed and the more at peace you will be in the process as well. Stress comes from selfishness and trying to control everything and trying to get. Peace of mind comes from only having the best of intentions and only wanting good for others and not focusing so much on ourselves. I'm not saying neglect yourself and neglect taking care of yourself. That's not what I'm saying, but I'm saying your motive in life, your intention in life needs to be less selfish, and then you will prosper without stress. You won't have to worry about getting the things you want. They will just come to you as a byproduct, as a natural byproduct of what you're doing in the world, the good that you're doing in the world. This is how you have the best of both worlds. This is how you prosper financially, but do it with peace of mind. It's all about your intention. You can prosper financially and be very stressed out if you're only doing it for yourself. That's an easy way to be very stressed. If you're always thinking about how can I get? A very much less stressful way to live is to focus on how can I give? It's not about me. It's about you. It's about serving people. That is a much nicer place to be, to come from, and it helps you get what you want in the end anyway. It's like having the best of both worlds. Okay, so that's number 2. Number 3 is successful people or wealthy people. They focus on excellence, not success. Okay, so most people in this world are focused on success. They're focused on getting more. They're focused on the money, the outcomes and the results that they're going to get, the nice car that they want to buy, the nice home that they want, the nice lifestyle that they want. And those things are fine. But what I've noticed in my studies over the past several years is that the most successful people usually are extremely dedicated to being excellent at what they do. They're not so much focused on the end result of what they do and how many copies of their book they're going to sell or whatever. They're more focused on writing the best book that they possibly can. It's not about how many sales you're going to make in the product launch. It's about how can I make the best product possible? How can I make this product so good that it changes so many people's lives? And how can I make it as good as I possibly can? That's what successful people focus on more. Making excellent things, doing excellent work, because the natural byproduct of that is the end result that you want. If you make a really, really good product, if you strive for excellence in that area, you will automatically sell more of that product because people will spread the word. They'll be like, wow, this is so good. I want to share it with my friend. I want to tell other people about this. That is how you create success that easily sustains itself, is just by being excellent at what you do. And I have an example of this in my own life. Many years ago, I wrote a book. It was just like a short guide that I wrote and published it on Amazon. It wasn't even anything special, I didn't think. I wrote it in like a few days, I think. It only took me less than a week to write this thing and publish it. And I published it, and it just blew up. Like within a month, it just started selling like crazy. And it was making me like over $1,000 a month just from this one little book that was like 30 pages long. And it only took me a week to write it. And I was only selling it for $3. So I was selling like hundreds of copies of this book every month. And I was like, what is going on? Like, how is this happening? And I started to get emails from people saying that like they liked the book so much that they shared it with their friend and they bought a copy for their friend. And then I had this one person who bought like 30 copies for their whole organization, that they wanted their whole organization or company to read this book as well. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like I never expected that. And it was just because of the value that I created and how I was focused on really solving a real problem in that book that I wrote. I was focused on solving a problem in the most efficient way possible. And I wanted to make it as good as I could. And even though I didn't spend a lot of time on it, I still wanted to make a quality piece of work. And I guess other people perceived it as quality and they wanted to share it. And that contributed to the success. And that would have never happened if it would have been a crappy piece of work. If I would have just half-assed it and put out a book just because I wanted to make some money and I didn't really focus on the quality of that book, it would not have been successful because I would have got really bad reviews on Amazon, and like Amazon would have put it down in the rankings and no one would have seen it. No one would have shared it because it wasn't excellent, right? And looking back on that book, it's funny because I don't even think it was that good of a book, but it just goes to show you that it's all about how other people perceive it. So it's not necessarily about how good you think you are. It's about how good other people think you are. It's about how much value they think you're giving them. A lot of us have this insecurity thing where we think that we're not as good as we actually are because we take it for granted because there's certain things that we're really good at that other people aren't, and we just think like everyone else is as good at that as we are, or they already know that, but actually they don't. I think they call it the curse of knowledge. A lot of people are better than they think they are, and when they put out their work, they think it's maybe not good enough or it's not going to be helpful, but it is helpful to others. And let others do the speaking for you. Don't always assume that you have to be like this genius or the next Picasso or whatever, or put out this work that's just like groundbreaking or have these amazing ideas. Don't ever assume that, because what I've found is that sometimes it's just the willingness to help and the willingness to be as good as you can at what you do, even if it's not the best. At least your intention and your motive will come through your work. So have the intention to be excellent at what you do, and let the results speak for themselves. Let the results be what they will. Let go of the outcomes and results, and don't think about that. If you just focus on doing excellent work and being the best you can be at what you do in life, you will eventually rise to the top. That's just how it works in life. There's very little competition at the top because there's very few people in this world that are willing to put in the work day after day that it takes to be excellent at something. Most people are in it for a quick buck. They just want the shortcut, the quick fix. They don't really want to put in the work. They don't want to do what's required. They're just not in love with what they do enough to actually want to be really, really good at it. So another part of this is finding something that you're really good at, that you love, and you love it enough to want to be excellent at it. And you find the joy in being excellent at it rather than in what the results and outcomes may be. Success will come. It comes from excellence, though. So focus on excellence first. Let success come second. Let that be the natural byproduct of the excellent work that you do. So those are 3 things that wealthy people do that ordinary people don't. 1, they reinvest their profits in order to make more profit rather than spending the profit right away. You got to spend some of your profit. I'm not saying don't spend any, but try to take most of the profit you make in whatever you do and reinvest it into things that will bring you more long-term rewards and benefits. Number 2 is they focus on solving other people's problems more than they focus on solving their own problems, because they know that if they focus on creating enough value for the world, the natural byproduct of that value will be success. At the same time, when you're focused on solving other people's problems instead of your own, you feel a lot less stressed in your own life because you're not focused selfishly. You're not self-centered. You're not thinking about yourself and your problems all the time. You're thinking about, how can I give? How can I give? That's how you have the best of both worlds. That's how you prosper, but do it peacefully. And then number 3 is they strive for excellence, not success. They focus more on the process of what they do and being really good at what they do rather than whatever outcome they're going to get. They let the outcomes and results take care of themselves, and they focus on excellence. Okay, so those are the 3 things wealthy people do that ordinary people don't. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please like, please share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know if you have any questions that you want me to answer in a future episode. I'm happy to do that as well. Okay, talk to you soon. Peace.